Hi everyone, I appreciate you stopping by my Caption Media channel. I'm here to discuss the recently released film Flash 2023. There won't be any spoilers, I'll just give you the review. Let's begin. When the Flash uses his special abilities to go back in time and alter the course of the past, worlds collide. But when his attempt to save his family unintentionally changes the future, he is stuck in a situation where General Zod has come back and is threatening Armageddon. In the absence of any other superheroes, the Flash attempts to persuade a very different Batman to come out of retirement and liberate a Kryptonian who has been imprisoned, though it isn't the Kryptonian he is looking for. He's one of just two pleasant surprises I will remember about this movie. Hats off to the eccentric, because he actually portrays two completely different characters who are so similar that you might erroneously think that they were played by two different actors. He begins by acting just like the Flash that we've come to know from the Justice League movie, irritating, jittery, and just plain embarrassing to watch. I was done with him after the first 15 minutes of the movie. But as the plot develops, we witness him grow up and develop into a mentor for his younger self, offering guidance, creating plans, and frantically trying to solve issues in order to erase all the harm that his time-travelling antics have caused. This Flash has absorbed lessons from his more experienced Justice League friends and developed into one of Earth's heroes. So, is this film psychedelic or disastrous in a mad way? The film is actually a hybrid of the two, let down by the tedious multiverse hopping, but flashy joy which is carried by the virtuoso performance of Ezra Miller, and the surly comic perfection of Michael Keaton as a Batman on the ropes. The Flash is the first DC film in a long time to actually contribute to me feeling ecstatic about these renowned comic book characters. It is light-hearted, endearing, warm and fuzzy. It's full of nostalgia and very entertaining. It's unquestionably the best DC movie to date, with the possible exception of James Gunn's The Suicide Squad. The film exhibits an extensive cast of audience favourites. It shows a clever take on the concept of the multiverse, and it also has heart-pounding action. It's cheeky and self-aware, but not intrusively so. For the first time, DC is contending that they're on the right track to forge their own route to success rather than attempting to draw in up to Marvel. We must first address an issue at hand before moving on. In the past few years, Ezra Miller, who plays the Flash, has been accused of assault, kidnapping, and endangering a juvenile and other offences. Given that Miller is a massive component of the film's success, it is hard to discuss this movie without bringing up this point. Of course, they play the lead, but they also serve as the focal point of the supporting cast. There are two Barry Allens in this movie, which is not a spoiler since they're already in the trailers. Ezra Miller performs alongside, Ezra Miller throughout the majority of the moments. The CGI for this movie has been brought up in several criticisms, but is it really as horrible as everyone has claimed? Well, it is. In fact, it's worse than some of the publicly available material. I would even say that it's on a She-Hulk level of terrible. The fact that CGI can still be this terrible in 2023 is quite astounding. There is one particular sequence that had everything you would expect from a superhero movie, including slow motion, babies tumbling, a dog, and a cacophony of madness. Sincerely, I played PS4 games with moments that were better cut. Do you recall the stiff fighting in Black Panther? It's worse than that, yes. Your mouth will drop at how absolutely horrific it appears. As we're all aware, Zod is back again, and there are a few more cameos of former heroes. And in order to make this happen, some of these figures have been rebuilt using CGI or just had their features mapped onto body duplicates. This is really awful. It's not quite as awful as Scorpion King, but given that technology has advanced by 21 years since then, it really is quite surprising. Even though The Flash is not the first movie to appear to be cursed, the sheer number of ways in which the production failed is frankly odd and somewhat unheard of. People who produce these Frankensteins should unplug their PC, get a fork, and insert it into the now empty plug socket while squatting in a bucket of water, since the CGI is quite amusing. To say that they're living off of this and acting irresponsibly is an understatement that dwarfs Lizzo's. Thus, for every scene that contains a threat of danger, not that there will be ever any threat because the entire production looks like a Saturday morning cartoon, Miller will pull a dumb face or make some sad joke that will completely ruin the scene. Since Taika Waititi unleashed Thor Ragnarok on the globe, this comedy trend has slipped into superhero films. It should have been dubbed Flash, Love and Thunder to sum up this film. He's a kind, naive young man put in an impossible circumstance. Miller plays both Barrys to perfection. Miller does have great comic timing, but it's not only for laughs. They also develop a character that is deep, sympathetic and endearing. Miller's portrayal gives the film a solid foundation and moves the plot along. Unfortunately, the acting prowess of the lead character, who is frequently in the news for the wrong reasons, is so strongly reliant on this excellent film. Miller gives a fantastic heroic performance though, if you can get past this. As it stands, the multiverse irksomely dulls the dramatic edge of death, despite the movie's attempts to sharpen the sword. The Flash's simplicity and sense of humour are just a few of the things that make it so unusual. Audiences can see the actor's happiness oozing off the screen in this kind of movie. With this, Zack Snyder's dark, brooding DC movies take a different direction. Even characters that were introduced into the DC universe under Snyder's leadership, such as Ben Affleck as Batman, look more energised. As his wise old veteran Bruce Wayne interacts with damaged young Barry Allen, Affleck gains a fresh understanding of the character. The two characters are connected by the fact that they both underwent severe trauma at a young age, experiences they both vowed to get past. Unfortunately, the film's strongest points are overshadowed by a sea of mundane, light-hearted humour, ridiculous story twists and subpar acting, especially from Ezra Miller in the titular role as Flash. The Flash uses the infinite number of possibilities that can arise from playing with the past as a justification to pelt the audience with everything but the Batcave sink. Additionally, there is the matter of the multiverse, which invites numerous cameos and references. It's a pleasure to see Kara Zor-El, nicknamed Supergirl, brought to life in a standout performance by Sasha Calle. Michael Keaton is excellent in his return as Bruce Wayne. The nostalgia trip in the movie doesn't stop there either. Other cameos abound, and there are allusions to every DC movie and comic book you can imagine, which are likely to have viewers cheering in their seats. The magnitude of those with superhuman abilities is depicted in the action scenes, but it's a cheap thrill rather than genuine awe, like in video game levels or theme park attractions. 150 minutes pass by rather slowly. Chaos may ensue. The humour never crosses the line into intolerable, but at times it is so ironic and irreverent that it slows down the plot. The nostalgia hook, if anything, makes you feel like you're part of the plot since it's so relatable. It all comes to a frantic conclusion in the third act, culminating in the kind of glitzy and distracting charade that hopes you'll be too taken aback by the sight of old-fashioned crime fighters to think to ask, why? The Flash is a confusing, chaotic and pandering attempt to rescue something from a property that is and was going nowhere quickly. It works briefly, and there is an interesting, albeit at this time unoriginal, notion there. While the time-travelling crowd pleaser from filmmaker Andy Muschietti doesn't break any new grounds in terms of story, it does for the most part produce a joyful superhero nostalgic dive. Despite the fact that I can't fully suggest The Flash and recommend it, I'm confident that many potential reviewers will like seeing Barry race from one end of the multiverse to the other, and that's absolutely fine. If you've seen the film, please comment below. Please give us your evaluation of the movie. I'm just heading off now. I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.